Three, two, one, and go. Hey guys, and this is gonna be a new Let's Play that I'm gonna eventually get to, but right now I'm just doing the introduction video to test out my hardware and see if it's recording everything fine. So let's get this started. The Let's Play that I'll be doing is Castlevania Harmony of Despair. It's an arcade game on Xbox Live. I don't think it's available on other consoles, but I could be wrong. So let's just get this started. Compared to other Castlevania games, I would probably say this is it has its new elements, like there being a 6-player co-op available rather than mostly just being by yourself and solo. So that's a plus side, but this is it's relatively short. There was only 6 chapters released with the actual game, and then a few more were released as DLC. And as you can see, when you first start the game, you'd only have access to chapter 1, but since with the DLC, they give you access to the DLC as soon as you start the game, so we can also start on chapter 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11 instead of 1. We should start at 1 so we can get our bearings down and do the easier chapters first. If we go to change characters, we'll see that we have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters. Let's see. When the game first came out, you only had access to the first. Hold on. You only had access to Soma, Alucard, Jonathan, Shinoa, and Charlotte. These were basically the backbones of the games before the DLC. Each DLC gave you, I believe, 2 new characters? Or, no, there was there was a separate DLC that you would download the characters for. And, you have access to all characters, regardless of DLC or not DLC. You have access to all characters as soon as you start the game. And as you can see, I have no playtime or kills on any of these characters. Soma is probably the best one to start out with, just for the simple fact that as he kills, as you defeat enemies, there's a chance of them dropping their souls for Soma, and every creature, I'm pretty sure every creature in the game that you can kill, except for one boss, drops a soul, or has a chance of dropping that soul, and that increases your potential of being able to use different types of attacks in different situations. I'm saying that a lot, aren't I? Alucard is probably almost as easy as someone, but he doesn't he doesn't have the ability to I need to stop saying he doesn't have the ability to attain souls, but instead he attains scrolls of dark magic. And the more he collects of that, the stronger his spells will become. However, he has a limited range of spells. I think only like 6, maybe at the most 10, but I'm pretty sure it's more around like 6 or 7. And Soma, as I said for Alucard, his soul abilities will get stronger as you collect them to a maximum of 9. Everything that you can collect in this game is to a maximum of 9, and when it comes to special abilities or spells, they tend to power up every time you collect it. The only exception being with Belmont's pretty much every character but Soma and Alucard. Next we have Jonathan. Basically, in the original game, before the DLC, he was the only one who had access to the vampire killer. Now, Jonathan, his only weapon is the vampire killer. Unlike Alucard and Soma, they have a very wide range of weapons, but Jonathan only has the vampire killer, his martial arts, which you have to obtain by finding them in chests, and even sometimes boss chests, if I remember correctly, for the last ones. And he has access to, I believe they're power weapons, which is basically like, you know, like the knives and the axes and the holy water and all the other stuff that you see in the normal Castlevania games that give you access to power weapons. Next we have Shinoa. Shinoa starts out with two weapons, but it's one weapon, but you can equip it to. No, it does start off with two of the copy of that weapon, and it's just two rapiers. In fact, I should finish this first, and then I'll show a test of the different characters. Shinoa, instead of collecting souls or scrolls or martial arts or power weapons, she collects glyphs by using her special ability by holding up. Up. With this ability, she has a chance, when she absorbs a glyph, she has a chance of attaining the ability to use that glyph as her own power. And another note is, that's pretty much it for her. Each character has a right bumper ability. Alucard, or is it left bumper? No, it's right bumper. Soma's ability changes because his right bumper is a blue soul, and each enemy has a different type of soul. There's 3 souls. There's the red soul, the blue soul, and the yellow soul. Soma can equip 4 red souls, 1 blue soul, and 1 yellow soul. Getting to the game mechanics now, and here I'll show you right here. We go here, go to offensive gear. You can see we start out with an axe, which takes up both of our weapon slots. We can have 2 weapon slots if we're not using a 2-handed weapon. This is where the blue soul goes, but we don't have any. This is where the yellow soul goes. Yellow souls are like passive abilities, while the right bumper is mostly for defensive abilities, and the red souls, which can be placed into B and then B in different directions, which it's basically the offensive souls that you have for the most part. And we start off with the skeleton soul, which will allow you to throw bones, which I'll show in a minute after I'm done explaining Charlotte. Oops. Now Charlotte, instead of having glyphs or whatever, she can attain spells by using her right bumper ability. Her right bumper ability allows her to put up a shield. Now, if you shield against the projectile and it makes a sound or it flashes the shield, that means that it has the ability to give you a spell. So if you sit there and absorb it enough without killing the enemy, you'll attain the spell and be able to use it yourself. Just like everything else, when you get 9 copies of the spell, they'll become powerful. Now, unlike Shinoa and Jonathan, Soma, Alucard, and Charlotte, their power abilities become more powerful as they get more copies of it. However, Jonathan and Shinoa have a thing called mastery for their spells, where they have to constantly not do damage, but they have to constantly hit an enemy to raise the mastery bar on their things. And here, I'll show you. Change to Jonathan.
I'm ready.
Here we go. Alright, so you'll see the knife is at level 1, and it will only go up as we hit enemies with it. And you can't change any of the top things yet because, well, no, we don't apply martial arts. All he can use up there is his vampire killer and his right bumper ability, which allows him to basically take incoming damage at a lesser amount of damage by guarding. So, and then we have these defensive gears, but we don't actually have any items to apply, so that's not important right now. But each character has the same defensive gear. They have a head slot, a chest slot, a boot slot, a back item, and then 2 accessories, and then a use item, which would be like a potion, or like you can get legs of ham and other food that are inside the walls of the castle to eat them and regain health when you use a use item. Some use items are different, like you'll have anti-venom or uncurse, which we'll get into later if we ever get cursed, but might talk about that soon. And then there's potions. Each character uses magic power for their power abilities, and you can get an item that allows you to get back the magic power. So we'll go to buy. We don't have any money, but we'll go to look at the options. You have the potion, which restores a little bit HP, but it says 25. The high potion, which does 60, which is a lot more. And then the super potion, which restores all HP. And then you just have the MP, basically the same thing, except it's 20 and then 50 instead of 25 and 60. But the mana prism is the same, the super potion restoring all of the MP. Remedy is basically an anti-venom and an uncursed potion in one, but it costs much more. Sorry about that. The thing is, you can only have one item on your use item slot at a time, so it would probably be better to carry remedies rather than anti-venoms and or uncurses, because then if the other one happens to you, then you won't have a way of getting rid of it. I would honestly say, though, that poison is much worse than cursing, because when you get cursed, it just drains your MP and stops your MP magic power from regenerating. So it'll stop you from using your power attacks, but anti-venom, you'll take 3 damage every second unless you have something to give you a health regeneration, or I think there's an item that makes you take less damage from poison. So that's basically it. And then we have the weapons here, but we haven't unlocked any of the weapons to buy. As you complete chapters, more more stuff gets unlocked for the shop. We do have some head slots that just basically give us boosts mostly to our defense, but some items like the bandana give you a +2 to your HP, or the thick glasses give you a +1 to your MP. I'll be using those things a lot, like MP and HP and attack and whatnot. So then we have the chest plate, which is works the same as the head plate, the boots. Now, I don't think any of these have it, but some items will say in their description that they have a special ability. Like later in the game, you can get these boots that will say that they allow the user to move faster, but it wouldn't say anywhere else, just in the description. And they actually would. Some items may be misleading, but most items will be directly truthful about what they do. And then we have the capes. We have the accessories, which basically they're mostly for raising stats or resistances. And and with the DLC, we have access to these 2 power weapons for all the Belmonts. But we don't have enough money. We have nowhere near enough money to buy those. So I'm gonna show off what Alucard, his his offensive gear looks like. As you can see, he has the ability to use 2 different weapons. He can actually use, well, it's not that he has 2 different weapons in his weapon slots, because he's not using a 2-handed weapon. He's just using a simple sword. Unlike how we saw Soma using an axe and it took up both slots. So if we go to down here, we can see the first spell we get is Summon Spirit, which calls forth the spirit that is said to be. Oh, my throat is kind of dry right now. But let's continue. Let's go to